on a glorious Sunday afternoon. You're on another episode of Chiefs Focus Live Postgame Report. You got myself, JP, you got Caleb, and you got Quentin, the beard of knowledge.
Yeah, shorter beard of knowledge, but still there.
Well, I just noticed that. It blended in with your black shirt there, and it kind of flipped me out a little bit. I didn't know it was shorter until you raised your head up and I saw your pasty white neck, and then I figured out it was actually shorter than that.
You know, had to meet up with the family, didn't need the turkey or the gravy sticking around in the beard, a little longer.
Don't lie, man. You got you had a turkey leg stuffed in that son of a bitch. Don't lie.
Yeah, dude. Hey, let me tell you, finding the mac and cheese in there, I'm not upset. That's more mac and cheese.
You guys, something else.
Okay, well, the Chiefs actually showed who they can be today. And you know how they did it? And it's fucking anomaly. It's just an anomaly. Things that we've been talking about all year long. Playing the right players. Oh my God. What? I mean, who would have thunk that if you put Noah Gray out on the field, you put Rashee Rice out on the field, you give Pacheco the ball, you might just win a fucking game. I mean, who would have thunk that? But you know what it took? It took a little strategy. It took a little strategy from Andy Reid to get this done because, Veach likes to play the guys that he pays. And what did he do? He took the two guys off the field that were causing him most of the problems.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he
was only there for a couple plays. Yeah.
Absolutely. He forced the hand to make the players play the game that can catch the ball. And, Travis Kelce, 100 yards. Oh, Lord. Let me check my pulse. He wasn't triple teamed all day long. Why? Why was he not triple teamed?
Because everyone else was catching the ball for once.
Everybody was catching the ball. I mean, I almost pulled a groin out of happiness. That was a great game. I don't know about you. It started off, I was scared. I have to be honest. I was a little scared in those first two series. I thought, oh, shit. But then I saw something, and I don't know if you guys had caught this, but Mahomes went to the sidelines, and from reading his lips, it looked like he said, let me play my fucking game. And that's when everything changed. He was telling Nagy that. And then at another point, Nagy didn't have a play sheet in his hand. Andy Reid had two. So there was something. They're playing a little strategic game here, a little gamesmanship, just to keep themselves moving. And you kept the same guys out on the field. I do have a pulse. Holy shit. You kept the same guys out on the field that can continue to play instead of rotating. What good is it? What good is it to rotate if the motherfuckers can't catch a football? I'm sorry. MVS, what happened to him? The one target today, some bitch lost yardage. He lost yardage.
That was a broken play, though.
He's a broken man.
But he's a broken man.
Play.
The screen got slipped down. Mahomes had to get the ball somewhere.
I'm not going to give him too much shit, though.
At least he caught the ball.
He made it to the league for a reason.
Way to have a low bar there, pal.
Yeah. So I'm just going to leave it there. What do you guys think? What's your opinion of this game?
Go ahead, Quinn.
Okay. They won, so that's good. Hot take alert. Look, I think that getting Rashee Rice involved, I know he dropped one, maybe two. That one dump-off pass is a little awkward for him to catch. So if you want to call it a drop or you just want to call it a bad throw, I could go either way. Rashee Rice getting involved early and often seemed to really be helpful. He continues to build a relationship with Patrick Mahomes and seems to be effective in this offense. He had that great sideline tightrope rundown that ended up in a touchdown, that 36-yard touchdown catch. Pacheco continues to be the guy. I think that Kansas City just needs to accept the fact that moving forward, you are not necessarily a run-first offense, but you need to be a running offense to some extent because this offense needs to go through Pacheco because you don't have the talent on the outside in order to be a pass-heavy offense. So depending on Pacheco is not a bad thing. We saw and we continue to see how effective he can be in the run game. You built this offensive line with your center 3 as big run-blocking offensive linemen. Use them. And so I'm happy to see that Pacheco was used as heavy as he was today. I think that is a winning way moving forward, and continue to do it. Look, and on the defensive side, Snead didn't play, perfect against Devontae Adams, but we're talking about the 4th best wide receiver in the NFL. And
he did enough.
Yeah, their quarterback was throwing some dimes today. I mean, he had 3 or 4 perfectly placed balls that, if you have that same coverage 99 more times, it's an incomplete pass. Sometimes you just got to say, well, guy threw a fastball by me and you struck out, and you live for another down. And that's what Kansas City did. This defense kept them in this game early, even though they gave up 2 touchdowns on back-to-back drives. They gave up 3 points for the remaining of the game. That's how you win, Kansas City. You run the ball
and you score
effectively.
In the second half.
You shut out teams and you shut out their best weapons when the opportunity comes to. This is the way Kansas City wins football games for the rest of the year. It's not gonna blow the doors off of anybody. This isn't going to break records moving forward. But you know what? This is the kind of win that you can take and say you can fly another banner over Arrowhead Stadium because of the play that you had today.
Okay. I'm one that wants to see it more consistently against the good teams. I mean, the Raiders were not playing bad football, but what I do think is this: they have improved a lot. Like JP said, they put playmakers on the field that could catch the ball. That's what you need. Rashee Rice should have been let loose for a while. He should have been already let loose. And you let these other guys come in and play and do what they did today. Now, were the Raiders lesser competition? Yes. But number 1, it was a rivalry game. Number 2, that team is tenfold better than what they were at the beginning of the season. So that's an upper echelon team they played. Number 2, that defense is still doing great. Yeah, they gave up the first touchdown drive, and the second one, Jacobs got that 68-yard run. But look, the Chiefs were still in it. Now, my concern is this moving forward. Is Mahomes going to play his game? How's that going to work from the future? Because at the end of the day, I mean, you don't want to be in 10, 14-point holes moving forward. You want to get on them early and keep on their neck. And that's always been an issue I've had with Andy Reid and the Chiefs, is because they don't get the team down early and just hold them down like the Patriots used to do. But regardless of this is a positive. Now, again, they did put a lot of money in their offensive line, which was great, but you got to sprinkle some of that out to the receiving core. So depending on how the season goes, it's a very, very open AFC division. But I also say is this: the Chiefs have an opportunity to do some work and make some magic happen if they can do everything they need to the first part. Because the defense is on point, and when the offense is clicking, they're going to be in a good spot.
I agree. And look, to your point, Pacheco was about even on yards, rushing and catching. And I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he was about even. He real close. I mean, within 5 or 8 yards of each other. He was killing it about the third quarter. It was so even with the little pass dump-offs to him and him just the yak. And then how about Rashee Rice? The yak on that touchdown. I mean, that was a 7-yard pass and a 30-yard run for a touchdown. You can't – look, man, I've been saying this all year. You cannot expect Mahomes to shoulder everything. You can't expect the defense to shoulder everything. It has to be balanced. Today we were balanced. But what I did notice, the defense came out a little flat. And I say that for one reason and one reason only. This is not a gassed from last week. This is being gassed from 12 weeks of playing. I mean, when you really go back and look at the minutes that the defense has spent on the field, it's almost it's well over 60%. Well over 60% of the time the offense has been on the field. That's not cool, man. You can't do that. And the first half of this game, the Chiefs defense was on the field. Me and Thiz looked at it. It was in the first quarter, they were on the field 13 minutes. In the first quarter. 13 minutes.
They were getting dominated.
Yes.
They dominated. It was that Chiefs offense went 3 and out, and they had the ball for 45 seconds.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. You can't expect it. You can't expect these guys to go 17 weeks and spend that much time on the field. Defenses play very hard, and they're constantly being beat up. It is what it is.
It's a good point.
You have to have balance. And today they actually had balance. Travis Kelce looked like Travis Kelce. He wasn't 100%. He was 98%. I know he's been injured twice this year. I get it. That's why he hasn't played as well as everybody expects him to play. It's not because of Taylor Swift. It's not because of going to fucking Argentina. It's not because of any of that. He has been injured. He's 34 years old. Give the guy a little bit of credit. Because you know what? He's 220 yards away from having a 1,000-yard season.
He's going to get it.
Yes. So give the man some credit for playing through 2 injuries and not really letting up and still being – look, man, he's the oldest – look, just put it this way. If he hits 1,000 yards this season, he'll be the oldest tight end in NFL history to have 1,000 yards in a season.
Wow.
That's insane. That
is pretty good
to think about.
That's insane. He's the most consistent tight end in the NFL ever. Ever. I mean, look, man, I love Tony Gonzalez. I knew him well, but he was great. But Kelce's consistently great.
Yeah.
There's
Kelce's just overarching, doing things that Tony couldn't do. And maybe if Tony was in today's game, he would do a lot better, but it's shown us.
Yeah.
Kelce
and look,
he surpassed Gronk and all those guys.
Absolutely. And you got to give it to him. Man, you know what? Philly's about ready to tie this game up, I think. If they get this field goal, they're going to tie it up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, but it's Buffalo 4th and 17 and a 59-yard field goal in the rain. I don't know if you're going to be able to hit this.
It's Elliott. That kid's good. I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to miss it.
Calling it now, wide right.
You're going to say wide right? I'm going to say dead nut down the middle.
Oh, okay, well, we
dead nut down the middle. He fucking made it. Dead nut down the middle with about 5 yards to go. Holy shit. Buffalo just gave their season's over. I'm sorry. They had a huge lead. I didn't mean
now the game's tied.
Holy shit. They're going to lose this game. Unless they score a touchdown, they're going to lose. McDermott's going to get fired. But anyway, regardless, moving forward with the Chiefs. You have to have – this is what we've been waiting on for 11 weeks. Last week, we had this game. We had that game against the Eagles. There's no doubt about it. If they would have done what they did today in the second half, they would have won that game by 2 or 3 touchdowns. But they didn't do that. They left the defense out on the field.
And that's another thing, too. When you put the ball in the hands of your playmakers, this is the result you get. We're not stagnant for an entire half. I think they realized is that we know who we need to play. And, yeah, we can sprinkle in MVS, we can sprinkle in some Sky Moore, but we know for the most part this is what we got. So,
well, here's the thing. Oh, Will, I want to say hi. I'm glad you're listening to it from work. And I agree with you that was not a hold on Humphrey. He did pancake the Raiders player. There was no hold. I don't know what they saw. They saw, I mean, his hand was on the front of him, but he wasn't pulling the jersey. He wasn't yanking him around. I don't know why they called it a hold, but it is what it is. The hold on Chris Jones, and I don't know if anybody saw it again, wide open, middle of the field, ref 3 feet away, never called. But we don't expect those calls. It's Chris Jones. It is. Look, man, Chris Jones doesn't get holding calls. I'm sorry, but he doesn't. This is one thing that I am surprised about. I got to give credit where credit's due when it comes to the Raiders. Their offensive line held up very well in this game. They only allowed 1 sack on apparently, according to Pete Sweeney, he's Tom Brady 2.0. But he held up against, they held up against a really tough defensive line. I'm going to give him credit for that. I am also going to say this. Jacoby Meyer is a fucking beast. I mean, that kid is good. There was the smartest thing he could have ever done was transition from being a quarterback to a wide receiver. Because he can play not only out of the backfield, he can play wide receiver, and he can still throw the ball when they don't screw it up. They tried to pull our flea flicker, and it died on him. But he's still a great player. I feel bad for some of the great players that are on the Raiders team, like a Max Crosby, a Devontae Adams, a Jacoby Meyer. Hunter Renfrow, because all those guys have wasted their careers by going there. There's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt. Do I think that Adrian Pierce is going to keep that job? No, I don't. I don't
know. I think he might. And here's why. You remember they had their last interim coach, and he came up and he was really good, and then they let him walk in order to bring in. I think that, well, I know this because their owner has talked about this, is that he said he regrets letting him go.
Yeah, that was stupid.
So I think that he's not going to make that same mistake twice.
Oh, no, he's not doing that.
So he's going to hire this interim coach who's going to be their next head coach moving forward.
But here's my question, though. Here's my question. Okay, there are two different coaches altogether. Okay, one was a special teams coach that is heavily involved with both sides of the ball. Okay. I don't know if he sees that same thing with Pierce, because Pierce, his whole career has been a defensive coach.
I don't think it matters.
I agree with Quinn.
I don't think it matters. I think that simply the fact that you brought this guy in and he's been successful, and the last time you had a successful interim coach, you let it go and you regret it. This guy's coming and been successful. You're going to move forward with him.
Okay, but the last guy won 4 straight. He's 2-2.
And this guy has changed the culture. It's made a difference.
And so
he's going to be there for at least one season.
Well, if he is, that's great. I mean, that's great. But I see a lot of coaches right now that are on the hot seat that
he's not one of them.
No. I'm talking about actual head coaches, not interim head coaches. There's head coaches out there right now that are on the hot seat. And Mark Davis is stupid in a lot of ways. I mean, he may see somebody that he thinks has more experience and just hires him because he has more experience. Doesn't mean he's better.
Yeah, I just think that he regretted letting go his last interim head coach after he was successful.
Can't think of his name right now.
Culture. And then this time you have a interim head coach that is following that same trajectory where he's changing the culture of your locker room. He's dragging your players through a bad season. I just don't think that he then justifies letting this interim head coach go too.
You might be right. I mean, who knows?
You guys want to get to our MVPs before we wrap the show?
Let's do that.
All right.
Hold on 1 second. He said, do you think DT Matt Dickerson should be playing? Seems like he struggles when other teams run the ball at him. No, I agree with you. Although he did have a good stop today, he's not the fastest, and he doesn't read very well. He doesn't read the plays very well. I think that'll come with time, but right now I don't know that he shouldn't be in every snap by any means. To throw him in here and there, it's not really going to hurt anything. But no, he shouldn't be, because
rotational piece.
Exactly. Rotational.
And that's really what he's designed for. Philip, you're right. Motherfucking Rashee Rice, because that dude played out of his shoes today. Yeah, he had a drop pass.
Just go ahead.
Drop pass.
Your MVP is going to be Rashee Rice. Just go ahead.
It is. It's Rashee Rice. All day long, it's Rashee Rice. I will say that, I mean, I was bouncing back and forth between Rashee Rice and, of course, the inevitable Pacheco. But we know what Pacheco can do. We've seen this every year. I mean, for 2 years. We know that he is a beast. We know what he can do when he's on the field. Rashee Rice hasn't had that opportunity, and when he finally got it, he made the most of it. And look, that pass that he dropped, that wasn't the greatest pass. It wasn't a drop. The ball was thrown a yard outside of his even catch radius.
Philip, I don't.
He would have had to dive on his face to catch that ball. So I love Rice. I think he is. Look, the guy's going to have 1,000 yards this season. That's phenomenal. Sorry, but that's phenomenal. He's already at what? I think 7 something.
No, he's not. He's at 420. He's not getting 1,000 yards.
If he somehow gets it.
If he gets it, you're going to buy me something.
And if he can get 600 yards in how many games are left? Like 6. If he can have 6 consecutive 100-yard games, that would blow my mind.
Okay, if we can do that,
think about something. But think about something, Quentin. before you make that statement, think about it like this. You got no McCall Hardman on the field for the next 5 weeks. Period. He's on IR. So after the IR ends, he's got a 21-day window. Right now, you got no Tony in the game, which is a good thing. They actually witnessed what he can do on the field today. They're going to feed him. They're going to feed him. And Mahomes absolutely had faith in him today. Everything he did today, and his yak is stupid. Give that man the ball, and I promise you, moving forward, he could easily get damn close to – he could match Juju's numbers from Juju's last year. Or from Juju last year right now. He can match their numbers.
If he does that,
and he's already got 5
games,
touchdowns. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season, which is more than Juju had last year. The entire season. And he's still got 6 games left. I'm just saying, he's already got 530 yards and 5 touchdowns. There you go. You don't think he can get another 500 yards?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'll give my offensive MVP. I got to give it to Kelsey. Yeah, the last couple of weeks have not been great to him, but he was able to show up and do what he needed to be. He was able to show up and do what he needed to do in order to win. Didn't fumble the ball. Was a great security blanket. Did very, very well. I mean, yeah, he's going to have those games where he's going to fumble and not do well. But again, Kelsey is showing us why he is a great player overall and the benefits that he has done for this team. So consistently, time after time after time again, he's probably going to have another 1,000 yards this season. Absolutely. And for him to do what he's doing at 34 years old and being Mahomes' security blanket, the Chiefs better find a good, and I mean a good tight end to be his replacement, because I don't know how long he has left, but it could be a situation where coming down the line in a year or two when Kelsey's gone, we got to find that replacement. But I'm happy what he's done so far. Quentin, who's your offensive MVP?
I'm going to go with Pacheco. I can't sit here and tell you how important the run game is for this team to move forward. And then when a guy comes up and just carries the rock and gets 2 touchdowns, I can't not pick Pacheco. So Isaiah Pacheco, look, it's not going to blow you away. He averaged just under 4 yards a carry. But how many times you gave him the ball and he was able to move the chains? You know, when it was 3rd and 1, Kansas City ran the ball with Pacheco and got the first down. You had the 2 rushing touchdowns. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to Pacheco because when the team was struggling to pass the ball, you were able to look back at your young running back, and he took the ball. And like I said, he didn't blow the door off anything. He ended the game with just under 100 total yards from scrimmage, but he was able to do what you needed him to do. And that's why I think he's a valuable asset moving forward.
Yep. What is his all-purpose yards for today?
He had 89?
Over
89 all-purpose?
Yeah, 55 rushing, 34 receiving.
It's good, yeah.
2 touchdowns.
I love that
I mean,
kid.
that's a good day's work.
I love that kid. Hey, and you know what else we didn't even mention? Didn't even mention it. Who came back into the fold today that we haven't seen all season?
You talking about Clyde?
Sky Moore?
No, Richie James.
I mean,
Richie James.
A little bit.
It's his first game back. He made an
appearance on the field, so that's good.
But it's his first game back. He was out on the offensive side of the ball, but he was the return man today. Yeah. Didn't make any mistakes. Look for Richie James to step up during the last half of the season.
I am on board with that. I had him being one of the top receivers on this team to start the year, and then he got hurt. And if Kansas City is going to try and find something before playoffs start, I think Richie James is a partial solution to that. I do think that Kansas City can look towards him to be, one of your top receivers, and that's not a bad thing because I thought it was going to be that way before the season started. All right, defense.
Yeah. JP, who you got?
Look, man, I'm sorry, but it's got to be McDuffie. McDuffie is just – look, man, I'm sorry, but he is the best fucking secondary player in the league right now. That kid, he's everywhere all the time. All the time. He's everywhere. If he's not involved in a play in some aspect or another, that's an anomaly. I mean, it just is what it is. He not only is he a great blitzer, he's great up close, he's great deep. He reads offenses so well for a second-year player. It's sickening. And I read you right now, Buffalo Bills playing this game in overtime wished and prayed to God they had him. But we took him. So I have to give it to McDuffie.
Okay. I have to give mine to, I'm going to have to give mine to Willie Gay. The reason why is because he was all over around running, had multiple great stops and plays. It doesn't matter where he was running, he was causing havoc. And I can give it to the whole linebacking core, honest as a whole as well. But see what they're doing this entire season and in this game specifically with Willie Gay, going around, stopping, blitzing, plugging these holes has been phenomenal. And then also the addition, Bolton's going to come back before the end of the season. So that's going to make things even better. So to see what guys like Willie Gay continue to do, and this may or may not be his last year here, depending on the numbers and things, what he has shown and proved to us has shown me is that, look, he is a cornerstone piece on the defense that wherever he goes, he's going to cause some problems, some havoc. He's always around. And I always love, he's one of the first guys on the backfield stopping those running backs. And that's what you need against a guy like Josh Jacobs. So that's how to give mine. Quentin, what you got?
I'm going to give mine to Snead because outside of those first two drives, he shut down Davante Adams. I know, you can't take away those first two drives, and, he gave up a lot of yards on those first two drives. But look, Davante Adams finished the game 5 receptions and 73 yards. I think he's the 4th best wide receiver in the NFL. I think Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, and Tyreek Hill are the only ones in front of him. And you have a corner that continues to step up against number 1 wide receivers. He continues to shadow number 1 wide receivers. He has literally shadowed the 4 best wide receivers in the NFL this year. Yes, we have faced the 4 best wide receivers, and Snead has kept all of them under 100 yards. So
that's
Snead
something
continues to, it's insane. You think about the trail that Snead has put up this year. It's mind-boggling. So I think sometimes it may seem like I downplay what Snead does for this team. I don't want it to seem like that. I'm giving mine to Snead because he did a hell of a job today holding down Davante Adams, especially outside those first 2 drives.
Okay, here's my thing. And I agree with you 100%. But the one thing I want to bring up really quick. Veach has learned his lesson, I think, with this offensive debacle.
I hope so.
No, hold up. If you fuck around and break up this defense in any way with the starters that we have on the field right now, if you jack around and you don't keep those guys because you're being frugal, then Veach is going to catch all kinds of hell because this defense right now plays so well together. They're so in sync together. They have great chemistry, and they're all fucking great players. Do not break this defense up. Leave it where it's at. If they extend Chris Jones right now, if they extend Snead right now, you save yourself an ignorant amount of money next year. An ignorant amount of money. That's the 2 players you need to extend first. And then you can keep a Willie Gay. Because Willie Gay, without fail, is the most athletic linebacker in this game. There's nobody on the field on any football team anywhere that is as athletic as Willie Gay is. You cannot destroy this defense. I'm sorry. You got to keep those guys. You got to keep that crew together because the mistakes that were made on the offensive side of the ball this year, this is the first time I can actually sit here and go, Veach really screwed up. He really did. Because he put way too much pressure on not only Mahomes, but on Kelsey, on Justin Watson. You put too much pressure on these guys when you know for a fact that there's no way you can win that way. You can't. If you can't, look, man, I'm going to say it, and it is what it is. If you can't see the writing on the fucking wall and learn from your mistakes, which Veach has done in the past, but the biggest mistake he has made was, and I said this 2 years ago, and we got into this little debate on here about doing this rotational shit that Veach likes to do. And the one thing that I said was, I don't give a shit if he does it in certain position skills or position areas, skill positions. Don't fuck around with the wide receivers. You have to keep somebody on the field that has continuity with Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And he didn't do that. He did not do that. He brought in Juju. That was great. I'm okay with that.
Poo-poo on your parade, or should I
Poop
just
all you want? Take a shit. If you got that
hey,
Hershey squirt on
look,
him.
man, look. I hear where you're coming from, and I agree with you a little bit in the sense that you need to keep the cornerstones of your franchise. So you need to keep your 2 or 3 superstars on the team on either side of the ball and continue to build around them. But you can't keep everybody. You can't keep the band together forever. And at a certain point, like a Willie Gay, for instance, I think he's a great piece, but you need to be able to find another Willie Gay. You need to be able to find another athletic linebacker in the draft, and you need to be able to move forward because you need to be able to re-sign guys like a Trent McDuffie. Those are the kind of guys you need to keep. Those are special players. But a guy like Willie Gay, look, it's not a super valuable position anymore. You can find other guys that can take the production of a Willie Gay and move forward with it. You know, you found Willie Gay and Nick Bolton in back-to-back drafts in the second round. You got to trust that your guys that you can be able to do it again. If you want this Super Bowl window to stay open for as long as Patrick Mahomes' career, and you don't want to end up like a Buffalo where you sell out for all one spot.
Thank you, Thiz.
You that's what you have to do is you simply have to continue to move pieces around. Every year, 33% of your roster is going to get turned over.
And that's
and that's just the way that it's way of building a team with a salary cap is.
And I'll finish tonight on this thought. Chanel Chanel has to step up. Yeah, they drafted Chanel a year earlier because they foresaw this happening. So they're always thinking of steps ahead in certain positions. Because as much as we want to have Willie Gay back, it may not happen. So,
but here's my but Quentin hit on something. It's not a super valuable position. It's not going to break the bank by keeping him. It's not. It's not going to make us lose another skill position player because of a linebacker.
One of the worst things you can do is give a good player a great contract.
Exactly.
That's my point. So you're not going to give him a great contract. You're going to give him
but if you spend an extra $3-4 million on one over here, that's $3-4 million you can't spend on a super valuable position like a corner or a wide receiver. So I just don't think that you should.
Can you tell me how it is that the Eagles have kept their team together for so long, offensively and defensively?
First of all, they aren't paying their quarterback yet.
Okay, I understand, but they paid Nick. They paid. Okay, first of all, they had Nick Foles. They were paying $20 million as a backup. Okay, they had Carson Wentz that they paid, but yet they still had their defensive line that they have had. I mean, Fletcher Cox is 8 years old.
But he's still out there. He's taking a hometown discount, though, to be there, though.
I understand, but I think you can convince some of these players to do the exact same thing. Why wouldn't you? Okay, if you can't convince
Chris Jones, you probably can't convince others. That's all.
Well, that's Chris Jones, and he's done this twice in his career with us. But here's my point. I think he's realized too. Chris Jones realized after, and I said that he said, you guys remember, I said he was going to come back right before the Jacksonville game or maybe right after, but he came back before. Here's the thing. Chris Jones realized that, okay, wait a minute. That extra couple $1 million a year that I'm not really going to see because the cap is fictional, why wouldn't I make that up in playoff money and Super Bowl money and stick with the team that I'm comfortable with at 30 years old, 29 years old? There's no difference than any other player. You can do that if you can sit down with a guy and go, okay, look, yeah, you're going to get a contract that says you make $15 million a year, but how much are you actually making if your team can't get out of their own way? If they don't win 5 games, your incentive-based numbers are going to go down the drain. Your playoff numbers are gone. Your Super Bowl numbers are gone. You don't get any of that money. And then your agent's taking 3%. And then not only that, what if you go to a state like, let's say California, where your taxes are 21%? You gotta take all that into consideration because a number on a piece of paper means dick if you're not getting it. And you will in the state that you're at, real money, not just fake money. And that's what Veach has been pretty good at for the most part. He just has to, other than Chris Jones, everybody else has been on board. Travis Kelce's done it. I mean, everybody has made the sacrifice. I think these guys are comfortable where they're at. And I think if you really, not to mention the fact that when you're on a team like this and you got Patrick Mahomes that's gotten everybody endorsements now. I mean, Andy Reid's done more commercials in the last year than he's done his entire career. Think about the endorsement money. Think about all the other things that come along with it, plus the Super Bowl rings.
Yeah,
I'm just not
going to get in a dude's pocket, and I'm just going to, I just think you got to trust your general manager who built this defense to continue to do so. And
I'm not trusting him with what he did with the wide receivers right now. I'm not.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, well, my point is that was a mistake, and I think he's going to learn from it. I think he is going to learn from it, but right now you have to. They did exactly what they needed to do today. They forced the hand of Brett Veach, and if anybody thinks any different, you're stupid. They forced the hand of Brett Veach today. They forced the players that make the plays onto the field. The Noah Grays, the Rashee Rices. Give the ball to Pacheco more. That's how you do that when you put guys on IR and somebody's injured. You force the guys out there that can play the game, and then you see who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes the money doesn't mean everything. With Veach, it does. He's as frugal as they come. He's kind of playing that Patriot way a little bit, but he's taken it a little too far with these wide receivers. I'm sorry, but he put way too much pressure on Mahomes and Kelsey, a 34-year-old tight end. Way too much pressure on both of those guys. This is where he has to go, okay, wait. Whoa. Hurts just scored. I think they just won this game, but I'm not sure.
That's game.
They did. They won it. Unbelievable.
With that being said, I guess we will. I'm going to look over this game. I've got some notes sitting next to me that I'll go over on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're going to all.
I think those are my general thoughts.
Game. Yeah, good win. Good team win. I'm happy with what they've done. I hope it continues. I hope they continue to do exactly what they've been doing today or what they did today, and just keep that momentum for the rest of the season. Keep the players on the field that succeed, and that's what they have to do. Buffalo sucks. They're going to miss the playoffs. Yep. They're absolutely going to miss the playoffs. And I'm going to tell you right now, hey, last thought on this. This tells you the validity of the strength of the Eagles. I'm just saying. Last week, if we'd have done what we did this week in the second half, they would have had a loss. Today, Buffalo gave it up. Buffalo's not a great football team. They don't have our defense. They just have a little better offense, or they did. And they're 5-6 on the season. There's no possibility of them making the playoffs. I just don't see it happening. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see it happening. And this is the demise of McDermott. This is the end of McDermott. The scapegoat that he used for the OC didn't work out for him very well because he sucks. I've never liked him. I thought he was my coach that I hated the most. Sirianni, I will never like him. He's not even a head coach. He's a hype man. He doesn't even call plays or draw them up. His offense and defensive coordinators do. He does nothing but run his mouth. And I wish he would have lost this game because Buffalo wasn't going to go anywhere anyway. But it is what it is. With that being said, hey, man, good win today. We'll talk a lot more on Tuesday about this stuff. We appreciate everybody for joining, and we will talk to you guys again Tuesday. Peace out, everybody.
See ya.